Imagine standing before an ancient mirror, its surface obscured by layers of dust accumulated over centuries. Most people spend their lives polishing frantically, believing that with enough effort, the right technique, or the perfect cleaning solution, they will finally reveal the mirror's true brilliance. Yet, what if the mirror was never actually dusty? What if the very act of polishing creates more disturbance than clarity? This paradox captures the essence of human spiritual seeking and points toward the revolutionary insight that lies at the heart of Zen Buddhism. We live in a world of perpetual motion, constantly pursuing the next achievement, relationship, or experience that promises to fill the void within. Like passengers on a train that never reaches its destination, we remain trapped in transit, forever moving yet never arriving. This restless pursuit, whether for success, love, security, or meaning, creates a feedback loop of temporary satisfaction followed by renewed craving. The very solutions we seek become the problems we must solve. But what if the answer lies not in more seeking, but in understanding the nature of seeking itself? The story of Zen begins not with texts or teachings, but with a simple gesture. According to tradition, the Buddha once stood before his disciples holding a flower, saying nothing. While others waited for words of wisdom, one disciple, Mahakasyapa, simply smiled, understanding immediately. This wordless transmission became the foundation of what would eventually develop into the Zen tradition. Buddhism's journey from India through the Silk Road into China during the Han Dynasty marked the beginning of a profound cultural synthesis. By the Tang Dynasty, Chinese Buddhism had encountered Taoism's emphasis on naturalness and spontaneity, creating fertile ground for what would become Chan Buddhism. The Chinese character Chan derives from the Sanskrit dhyana, meaning meditation, but the tradition that emerged transcended mere sitting practice. When Eisai brought Chan teachings to Japan in the late 12th century, it underwent another transformation, adapting to Japanese aesthetics and warrior culture. The Japanese pronunciation Zen eventually became the term most familiar to the Western world. Unlike the gradual, scholarly approach of other Buddhist schools, Zen developed distinctive methods that emphasize direct experience over intellectual understanding. Throughout its evolution, Zen maintained a unique characteristic. It absorbed the cultural elements of each society it encountered while preserving its core insight about the nature of awakening. Today, as Zen encounters digital culture and global connectivity, it continues this pattern of adaptation while pointing toward the same fundamental realization that struck Mahakasyapa centuries ago. Within Buddhist philosophy, awakening is understood through two primary models: gradual cultivation and sudden realization. Most traditions emphasize the former, a steady progression through stages of understanding, like climbing a mountain step by step until reaching the summit. Zen, however, points toward a different possibility altogether. Consider the difference between sunrise and lightning. A sunrise unfolds gradually, predictably, with measurable progression from darkness to light. Lightning, however, illuminates the entire landscape instantaneously, revealing what was always present but hidden by darkness. This sudden illumination, called Satori in Japanese, represents not the acquisition of something new, but the immediate recognition of what already exists. Satori is not an achievement earned through accumulation of merit or knowledge. It cannot be grasped, stored, or repeated on demand. Like trying to catch one's own shadow, the more deliberately one pursues Satori, the more elusive it becomes. This presents a fundamental challenge to our conventional understanding of progress and attainment. The moment of Satori involves a complete shift in perception rather than a change in external circumstances. Imagine watching a movie and suddenly realizing you are not the character on screen, but the awareness in which the entire film appears. This recognition doesn't require years of preparation. It can happen in an instant, though the implications may take time to integrate. This sudden quality distinguishes Zen from therapeutic or self-improvement approaches. While other methods focus on gradual healing or enhancement of the existing self, Zen points toward a radical discontinuity, a recognition that the very foundation of our usual experience rests on a case of mistaken identity. Modern neuroscience confirms what Zen masters have long observed. Human consciousness operates primarily in a state of distraction, constantly oscillating between memories of the past and projections about the future. We experience life through a narrow bandwidth, missing the richness of immediate experience while lost in mental constructions. Zen positions present moment awareness not as a technique to be practiced, but as the fundamental ground of all experience. Unlike mindfulness approaches that treat present moment attention as a skill to develop, Zen recognizes that the present moment is where we already and always exist. The question becomes not how to get to the present, but how to recognize our perpetual residence there. This recognition transforms our relationship with time itself. Instead of experiencing the present as a thin slice between past and future, we begin to recognize it as the eternal context in which all experience unfolds. Past and future exist as mental constructs arising within present awareness, rather than separate realms we move between. The traditional Japanese tea ceremony exemplifies this understanding through the concept of ichigo ichi, one time, one meeting. Each gathering is recognized as unique and unrepeatable, not as a romantic notion, but as a direct expression of reality's fundamental nature. Every moment carries the same quality of unprecedented uniqueness, yet we typically overlook it while pursuing goals and maintaining narratives about our lives. In our contemporary context, this insight becomes particularly relevant as digital technology creates unprecedented levels of distraction and fragmentation. Social media, constant connectivity, and information overload represent new forms of the ancient tendency to escape the immediacy of present experience. Zen offers not a rejection of technology, but a different way of engaging with it from presence rather than compulsion. Here we encounter Zen as most counterintuitive insight. The very desire for enlightenment creates the obstacle to its realization. This presents a logical impossibility that cannot be resolved through thinking, yet it points toward a profound understanding about the nature of consciousness and identity. Consider someone searching everywhere for their glasses while wearing them. The more frantically they search, the more convinced they become that the glasses are missing. The problem is not that the glasses are hard to find, but that the searcher has misunderstood the situation entirely. Similarly, what we seek through spiritual practice is not absent, it is the very awareness that is doing the seeking. This creates what philosophers call a performative contradiction, the ego mind that desires. Enlightenment is precisely what must be seen through for enlightenment to occur. It's like trying to use darkness to illuminate a room, or attempting to escape from prison using the very chains that bind us. Traditional Zen literature is filled with stories of students who spent years in intense practice only to realize their efforts were creating the very obstruction they were trying to remove. One famous account tells of a monk who practiced meditation so intensively that he polished a brick, believing it would become a mirror. His teacher finally asked, "How can polishing a brick make it into a mirror?" The student suddenly understood that no amount of effort could transform his fundamental nature. It was already perfect as it was. This doesn't mean that practice is useless, but rather the practice must be understood correctly. Zen practice is not about acquiring enlightenment, but about exhausting the illusion that enlightenment is something to be acquired. It's a process of subtraction rather than addition, of letting go rather than taking on. Zen developed distinctive methods for bypassing conceptual thinking and pointing directly toward immediate experience. Unlike scholastic traditions that emphasize textual study and philosophical analysis, Zen treats concepts as fingers pointing at the moon, useful for direction, but not to be mistaken for the destination itself. Zazen, often translated as sitting meditation, represents a radical departure from goal-oriented spiritual practice. Unlike concentration techniques that aim to achieve specific states or mindfulness practices that cultivate particular skills, Zazen embodies what Zen teachers call shikantaza, just sitting. This just sitting is more profound than it initially appears. It involves a complete letting go of the attempt to get anywhere or become anyone different. The practitioner simply sits with whatever arises, thoughts, emotions, sensations, sounds, without trying to change, improve, or transcend the experience. This creates a unique laboratory for investigating the nature of awareness itself. Through Zazen, practitioners often discover that the observer and the observed are not separate entities, but different aspects of a single, indivisible process. The one who sits and the sitting itself are revealed to be conceptual divisions within an undivided wholeness. Koans represent one of Zen's most distinctive innovations, carefully crafted, verbal puzzles designed to exhaust rational thinking and provoke direct insight. Unlike riddles that have clever answers, koans cannot be solved through logical analysis or creative thinking. They function more like spiritual viruses, disrupting normal mental processes until a different kind of understanding emerges. Consider the famous koan. What is the sound of one hand clapping? This question cannot be answered through reasoning because it challenges the fundamental assumptions underlying conceptual thinking. Yet generations of Zen students have found profound liberation through engaging with this apparently meaningless question. The koan process typically involves intensive one-on-one meetings between student and teacher, where the student presents their understanding of the assigned koan. The teacher's response, whether acceptance, rejection, or cryptic comment, serves not to provide information, but to deepen the student's investigation. This process can continue for months or years until the koan is passed, indicating that the student has achieved genuine insight rather than intellectual comprehension. Modern practitioners sometimes struggle with koan study because it seems to contradict our educational conditioning, which emphasizes accumulating knowledge and solving problems through analysis. Koans work in the opposite direction. They reveal the limitations of analytical thinking and point toward a different kind of intelligence altogether. Zen faces a fundamental challenge. How does one communicate an understanding that transcends communication itself? This has led to the development of unique teaching methods that operate more like performance art than conventional instruction. The relationship between Zen teacher and student differs markedly from academic or therapeutic relationships. The teacher's role is not to provide information or emotional support, but to continually undermine the student's conceptual understanding until direct insight becomes possible. This often involves seemingly harsh or nonsensical responses that serve to interrupt the student's habitual mental patterns. Traditional Zen stories are filled with teachers who respond to sincere questions with apparent rudeness, silence, or even physical gestures. One master was famous for answering every question by holding up a single finger. Another would immediately leave the room whenever asked about Buddhism. These responses were not arbitrary, but precisely calibrated to the individual student's particular form of spiritual materialism. This teaching approach reflects Zen's understanding that genuine realization cannot be transmitted through concepts, but must be discovered directly by each individual. The teacher's role is to create conditions where this discovery becomes possible, much like a gardener who cannot make a seed grow but can provide optimal conditions for growth to occur naturally. As we navigate an era of unprecedented technological change and social complexity, Zen's insights take on new relevance. The fundamental human tendency toward distraction and seeking has been amplified by digital technology, creating new forms of the ancient problem of missing present moment reality. Social media platforms are designed to trigger the very seeking mentality that Zen identifies as the root of dissatisfaction. The endless scroll, the pursuit of likes and validation, The comparison with others' curated lives all represent digital versions of the age-old pattern of looking outside ourselves for fulfillment. Yet technology also offers new possibilities for understanding Zen principles. The instantaneous global communication that characterizes our era mirrors the immediate, non-local quality of awakening that Zen points toward. The recognition that all content, whether ancient texts or contemporary memes, appears within the same aware space provides a direct analogy for non-dual understanding. Virtual reality technology offers particularly interesting parallels to Zen insights about the nature of experience. Just as VR can create completely convincing alternate realities, Zen suggests that our ordinary experience of being a separate self in an objective world is itself a kind of virtual reality generated by consciousness. One of Zen's distinctive contributions to spiritual practice is its emphasis on integrating awakening into ordinary daily activities. Rather than treating enlightenment as an altered state available only during meditation, Zen points toward a recognition that can transform cooking, cleaning, working, and relating to others. This integration requires understanding that Zen is not about achieving particular experiences, but about recognizing the nature of all experiences. Whether washing dishes or conducting business meetings, the same awareness that recognizes its own nature during Zazen is present and available. Japanese culture developed numerous art forms: calligraphy, archery, flower arrangement, martial arts that serve as vehicles for expressing and cultivating this integrated understanding. These ways, do in Japanese, transform mundane activities into opportunities for spiritual realization. Contemporary practitioners are discovering similar possibilities in modern activities. Computer programming, for instance, can become a form of Zen practice when approached with the right understanding. The recursive, logical thinking required for coding can exhaust conceptual thinking just as effectively as traditional Koan study. As this exploration concludes, we return to the fundamental paradox that characterizes all authentic Zen communication. The finger pointing at the moon must eventually be forgotten in favor of the moon itself. Every concept presented here, Satori, present moment awareness, non-seeking, direct pointing, must ultimately be transcended if they are to serve their intended function. Zen's greatest teachers consistently emphasized that their words were mere expedients, temporary tools to be discarded once their purpose was fulfilled. The 4th century Indian sage Nagarjuna compared his philosophical teachings to a thorn used to remove another thorn. Once the splinter is extracted, both thorns are thrown away. This self-negating quality prevents Zen from becoming another spiritual ideology or self-improvement system. It continuously points beyond itself towards something that cannot be captured in words, concepts, or experiences. Yet paradoxically, this very pointing creates the possibility for genuine understanding to emerge. Perhaps the most profound teaching of Zen is that there is ultimately nothing to teach and nothing to learn, nothing to achieve and nowhere to go. The very search for these words' meaning perpetuates the illusion they are designed to dissolve. Yet in the dissolution of seeking, something vast and peaceful reveals itself, not as an attainment, but as what we have always been, what remains when all the seeking stops. What looks through these eyes when the searcher is nowhere to be found? These are not questions to be answered, but invitations to investigate the most intimate mystery of existence itself. In the end, Zen offers not conclusions, but an endless beginning. Not a destination, but the recognition that we have never left home.